everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on a working afternoon for this insightful discussion that we have today. We are very pleased and proud to present our social table talk with Vipin from Starbucks India. He's the Chief Technology Officer at Starbucks India and a phenomenal career with amazing companies. You'll see that in a minute. The agenda for today is to discuss how we can adopt advanced analytics to drive business growth and maximize revenues while enhancing our customer experiences, building customer loyalty, and also optimizing our business processes and costs while we're at it. To start the discussion, we will quickly walk you through an introduction. We'll give you a profile a description of Vipin and the amazing achievements he's done. And we'll then get into the discussion. Whenever you have any queries or questions, please share them in the Q&A window. And towards the end of the discussion, we'll spend about 5 to 7 minutes to answer as many queries as possible. So welcome once again, everyone. Thank you. A very good afternoon. And thank you especially to Vipin for joining us for this presentation and discussion. So a quick introduction to Transorg. For some of you who may be unfamiliar about Transorg, we are a data science and advanced analytics services company. We have been in this business for over 14 years, headquartered in Gurgaon in India, with global operations servicing clients across APAC, Middle East, North America, and of course, back home in India as well. We serve some of the largest, most recognizable brands across the world and across industries from banking, insurance, telecom, aviation, hospitality, CPG, retail, as well as restaurant chains. And some of our clients are some of the largest brands in the world, including about 8 Fortune 500 clients. We have a very strong data science and analytics team of over 100, and they work across different client projects ranging in complexity from basic data analytics, dashboarding, insights generation to support executive decision making, to solving more complex business problems in customer, marketing, operations, or risk analytics using data science, machine learning, and AI techniques. Transorg has been awarded over the years with numerous recognitions and awards, including the Seasoned Vendor in Data Science Services in India by the Analytics India magazine. Excuse me. Like I was explaining, excuse me, our gamut of services and solutions are spread from providing clients with an analytics roadmap consulting and helping them line up opportunities to implement analytics and integrate it in their business operations. We also provide core analytics services, whether using structured or unstructured data, including solving complex problems using cutting-edge techniques like NLP, computer vision, and AI. We also have a capable team of data engineers who can help our clients in pipelining their data, in designing data architectures, and transitioning them to cloud or big data stacks for real-time data analytics. We also provide clients with a lot of support in automating their dashboards and business insights to support executive decisioning. So without further wasting the time away, I'm happy and honored to introduce our guest speaker, Vipin Gupta. He's the Chief Technology Officer at Starbucks India. To say the least, encapsulating Vipin's experience over 18 years in a matter of minutes is impossible, but I'll still make an attempt at that. Vipin has over 18 years of progressive experience in leading technology in QSR, retail, and digital transformation and IT services. He is heavily focused on providing strategy development, large-scale program or project management, IT operations, and cost optimization. Vipin carries a rich experience of having delivered leadership roles across various geographies from USA, Canada, Netherlands, Australia, South Africa, Vietnam, Malaysia, besides now leading in India as the CTO at Starbucks. Over the years, he has held various leadership positions in other companies as well, such as TCS, KPMG, Deloitte, Accenture, A.T. Kearney, Yum Brands, and currently at Starbucks as well. He holds an MBA in Finance and Business Consulting from the York University. A quick introduction about myself as well. I will be your host, and thank you for your patience. My voice was gone at the right moment when the webinar was supposed to be launched. So I have over 17 years of experience. I'm currently the VP of Sales and Marketing at Transorg Analytics, and literally seen this company evolve from its startup days to a mid-size analytics company. My specialization is in providing analytics advisory services to CXOs and functional heads in some of the best and biggest brands across the world, and how we can use their data to solve their own business problems. I am a graduate of Vanderbilt University, and I also hold a PGDM from IMI. Joined by me today, we have our CEO, Naveen Jain. He has over 25 years of experience in leading analytics, product development, and operations at some of the largest companies such as American Express. In his last role as VP of Analytics in Amex, he was mentoring a team of over 100 marketing analysts supporting 20 plus international markets. Naveen holds an engineering degree from the Delhi College of Engineering and an MBA from IMT Ghaziabad. We are also joined by our VP of CPG and Retail Analytics, Jakpreet Singh. He has close to 15 plus years of experience in providing consulting and advisory services to Fortune 100 CPG and retail and e-commerce clients in various business areas such as trade spends, marketing channel mix, forecasting demand, improving business planning, and various other use cases by implementing advanced analytics, ML, and AI solutions. Jakpreet holds an MA in economics from Delhi School of Economics. Welcome, panelists. So before we move further into the discussion, I wanted to quickly share a quick insight that uh, pre-COVID, post-COVID, there has been a lot of discussion changed. However, one thing that has always remained the same is that technology is the backbone of any business, and technology and the function of technology, the CTO's desk, is not just an enabler of technology for business innovation, but is also a big custodian of data. And data has become the new currency, the new oil to grow and manage the business. So, with that, I would welcome the discussion from our tenured speaker, Vipin, to start the discussion. So, Vipin, coming to your thoughts on how your business has evolved in general. If I look at customer behavior across India in specifically, how do you see the customer behavior has evolved from their pre-COVID days to during the COVID and post-COVID? Have you seen through the data analytics and the technology-enabled solutions any different behaviors in consumers in their spending, in their consumption of products?
So yes and no. I think there are. I think when you look at all three eras, actually, it was interestingly how it changed and how uniqueness of the behavior was there. Because I remember when I used to attend a lot of the events pre-COVID, people had started talking about like a lot of the millennials and the Gen Z is moving away from brand loyalty. Brand loyalty was becoming more like a commodity, and people said that everybody's looking for more service and personalization, which is true today's world also. But brand loyalty was taking, it seemed like a backseat. I remember I attended some BCG sessions at that time, and I think what happened was that when the COVID came, I think that brand actually became, I would say, and the loyalty became the centerpiece of the consumer behavior. And I think, and especially when it really work well for brands like Starbucks, that the kind of trust and the belief that people had in this brand, that whenever they serve you coffee, even during the COVID era, whatever we were able to do, they will be all the safety precautions will be taken care of. And I think that I feel that the brand and the loyalty has then carried on to the post-COVID era world as well, where I think people want, they do love, and you and I were talking, as well before this session, brand loyalty and that's has continued, and I think it puts then great onus on brands, like companies like Starbucks to really honor and to carry that trust, and that goes across multiple levers, though in terms of product, the pricing, the technology, the security, the data privacy, and I think that has continued. Now, being said that, I think the other layers of customer behavior, whether it was personalization, your demand for service, everything is yesterday, the expectations of that they don't really. And actually, it's an interesting thing, because when you're trying to create digital products in a brick and mortar company like us, people don't think as they know these are brick and mortar, so maybe their app won't be great, or this is Zomato or Swiggy or other company, their app would be absolutely great, because these guys spend probably like billions of dollars, and we have maybe a fraction of budget of that. So I think that's what creates a lot of challenges in terms of that. Then how do you really enable that personalization, that service? I think I think that is consistent, and it creates a lot of onus and challenges for brands like us to be able to meet those expectations. So other levers, as I said, personalization, service, the ease of the digital products, whether it's refunds, whether it's customer service, everything continues, and I think those are the things I would say that has been the characteristic of the various dimensions of time that we have seen over the last 3-4 years.
Sure, Vipin. There's an important point that you pointed out, like, customers not expecting brick and mortar companies such as, Starbucks to be having a great experience digitally. What has been your observation in terms of the customer behavior when they are interacting with brands digitally versus offline? Do you see a different expectation from the brand, a different kind of experience that the customers, or how well are you able to understand and track the customer behavior digitally versus offline?
So I think so 2-3 dimensions, I think, of the question that you talked about. I think for us, I think in the retail world, I would say understanding customer behavior in the digital world, I think I would say it's fairly, I would say, solved for, and there are various tools and which are available in the market, and I'm sure many brands have solved that already, in terms of whether it's Google Analytics or your more campaign management tools, advanced campaign management tools, which do geolocation and everything. I think so. There, I would say many companies, and especially the digital natives, have made tremendous amount of progress in terms of understanding. The other day, I was speaking to one of the digital natives. They actually even track in their the search in terms of their search effectiveness. The moment you go and search, how many scrolls a customer have to do before they actually find the product of their need is also the kind of metric that people track in the digital world. So this is just one example, but I'm sure there are many in terms of dropouts, clickstream. The lot of advancement has happened. I think the two areas where I think the other two areas, which I would say you said offline, and online. Offline, I think it's an area which is I would say utopia for most retailers, because how do you really track the offline journeys and the offline behavior is, I think, is still an area where most retailers struggle. And I think we have tried. We are actually trying. When it comes to Starbucks, we have tried our hands with the Vision Analytics. We are working with something of those, how you can use advanced AI, ML, video analytics or camera recognition technologies to really track consumer behavior in the stores, whether it's your journey time, what the pain points are, whether it's how much time you end up spending in queue, how much time it takes to pick up the food, how much time you actually spend on pause. Do you find it challenging finding a seat in the store? So we are developing and working on those technologies. But are these technologies affordable? Are they can you do that at scale? Is still the question that we are trying to answer, and then we are working towards that. The other dimension which is there is, I would say, the combination of digital and physical. So the combination of physical and digital is, I think, an area where we are also working, and I think where how you can actually combine the online and the offline journeys, which actually has been happening for Starbucks for many years. Like most people go and they will take their app and then they scan the app, and you get a payment or through the wallet or offers and everything. But then how can we make the journey more engaging and maybe ease out some of these offline friction points that are there? Can they be like we call it like a mobile order and pay? In a moment you go into, let's say, ambient store in Delhi, you walk in and then you see that, okay, there's a huge line. Rather than you finding a competitor, we would want you to maybe do through, solve that friction point by QR code ordering, right? You are ordering there you forgot to take the invoice because you want to go back and reverse. How can we then show you all the transactions which are online, offline? So we are also trying there on how we can actually take the friction out of the physical world and then maybe solve it to the digital world. But primarily you are in the store. You are a dining brand, and at the end of the day we sell coffee. So I cannot sell you coffee on the digital world. So you have to be in the store. So that's what we're trying to do. But I think the customer expectations, the first part of your question, which was there, I think the customer expectation, I think it's the same, and especially when it comes to brands like Starbucks. I think what we stand for, what we stand for is personalization. What we stand for is warmth, the connection, the care that is there, and I think when you come into Starbucks, you don't think that, oh, I'm going on the app and then hence maybe the journey is broken, or when I'm coming to the store, I will have a great experience with the baristas and they'll take care of me. Even if my coffee is spilled, they take care of me. I don't have the so all those things are taken care of in the offline world. I think the expectation is the same, and then I think what happens is that it creates a lot of challenge for CTOs, like or at least a guy like me, to actually say, how do we really replicate all of that? So for example, I'll just take a small case of refunds, and we've been talking with the team, Jakprit and all that. How do we really solve that in terms of using more advanced technologies? Because when you're in the store, if there is a problem, barista will take care of it. And I'm sure as customers, you've gone in and experienced that they are always there for you to help you. They don't, it's not like where you ask for a piece of Kisan ketchup and they will look at you and say, why are you asking for a spare one? Right? They will. Starbucks stands for its service and warmth and connection. But then how do you replicate that kind of care and warmth and connection on the digital world is something that becomes a very big challenge, whether it's refunds, whether it's your break points, for example. And I will say we are not there yet. I will acknowledge that we are trying our best and we are moving towards a journey, but we are not there maybe where we would like to be. If your app doesn't work, you try to log in onto the app and it doesn't work, then you say, what the hell?
Yeah.
You go in and you don't see a product, the payment fails, you say, why? And then so I think it is definitely I would say, just to sum the question up, the customer doesn't see it offline, online. I think they see it as a brand. And then I think it is our job to make sure that wherever you are, whatever touch point you have, whether it's social media, it's the app or the physical, we maintain those standards, and that's a journey that we are endeavoring, and I'm sure we'll reach there someday with your support. So
yes, definitely, Vipin, and an excellent points that you've mentioned, that of course customers being the center stage, all the business strategies have to be centered and derived around that. But you also support a whole host of your internal customers as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Whether it is your franchisee partners, whether it is the internal business stakeholders. How do you see the digital transformation journeys, not just at Starbucks in general, but for some of the world's largest consumer facing businesses? What can the CTOs do in order to support the business heads in using their digital transformation journeys, in accelerating their business functions, whether it is transitioning to cloud, building cloud native applications? Where do you think that at the end of the business, where the impact has to come in terms of revenue, hard coded numbers, but to reach that journey, you are the enabler, you are the supporter for them?
Yeah.
How can you enable those kind of support to the business heads? Where are those major pillars of digital transformation for such
So I think so. To me, I think see in today's world, the whole question of why we need to digital, do we need to digital, I think is probably solved for almost every organization. I don't think any. I mean, if any organization is still answering the question that why do we need to digital, I think there is something wrong. Seriously, I think the question that everybody is asking now is that by when. And I think and I think for CTOs it's a fascinating time for CTOs, CDOs, or people who are taking care of digital transformation, because now everybody comes and saying how soon you can do it. This is the money, this is the sponsorship, and how can you soon go to market and deliver a solution which is actually works for us. And I think in that in doing that, I think CTOs have a very complex role, I would say, in today's world to play, because not only they have to deliver. So first of all, they have to identify how what will be the digital transformation or intervention that is needed in a particular solution, particular area. that requires a good understanding of their business area. So I mean, like I know we've been working with Naveen on a few of the analytics topics, and he's the other day we say we want to do something on supply chain, and he says, oh well, can we have a meeting with supply chain? I said, like, tell me what you need. And then because my team has already gone in and done a lot of the basic understanding of processes, everything that is needed. Because if I go to so I'm saying, in a way we are already doing a lot of the the process understanding, and also taking how other organizations are fixing some of those areas before we reach that point of actually implementation. Because the selling to the internal stakeholders that this is the solution and this is the ROI, and then getting the funding for it is actually a very big part for the the IT organization or the CDO or a CTO. And for that, you can't do a great job. You have to stand up in front of the CEO, in front of the board, saying, I need X million rupees or dollars, and we are going to do this whole transformation. But then where are the benefits? And it's interesting because now maybe external partner, let's say some consulting organization comes and they say, well, we'll do this, they will do this, and go out. And then but for me, I can't go out. Like if after 2 years I don't deliver those results, I don't get the funding for the next transformation. So I have to make sure, and that's why the job I think becomes difficult, because not only you are telling the business heads to do what needs to be done, then you actually go and ask for funding, then you actually execute, then you prove the results, and then you go to the next point saying, okay, let me go to the now talk about the next transformation. So I think that whole cycle, I think it's fairly complex, I must say, and it's very tedious, and I think it's a great onus. But again, I think end of the day, I think it's a great experience, great learning. And I think the CTOs have to build trust, they have to build business knowledge, they have to have delivery excellence, they have to have financial excellence, to be able to deliver, and execute a lot of these. So I think it's a fascinating time. I think you just, it's more how hard can you run, today. And I think we are just limited by our own capacity to deliver. I think there is no shortage of, demand, I think, at least for us, let me say.
Right. In fact, one of the internal stakeholders that you have to regularly support is the data science and analytics, and they are the major consumers of data while they are, of course, supporting the business functions. How do you decide on what kind of projects to take in the short term versus, where you would be okay to wait for the results to, accrue over a longer term period? How do you resolve that as a CTO versus, the business expectations? Because
Yeah.
business, the result is always expected yesterday. So,
Yes.
so
I think, Sushila, there is no right answer on this one. And I think, as I said, I think it's basically a combination, So, and again, taking the example of the work that we're doing with the Transorg, see, you have to balance out the short term and the medium term outcomes, So, what happens that is that if you're picking up, let's say, even like sales analytics or inventory analytics or even BD analytics, if you're going to come and tell the organization saying, okay, I'm going to take maybe 18 months and maybe like a couple of billions of dollars of investment, and by the way, I come after 18 months and say I'll give you a fancy model which will actually predict how good your sales are and why they are going down and up and down and all that, nobody's going to buy that, I think. And so it's a, like, I would say it's an iterative process where you take some baby steps, and some of the work that we are doing internally also, like we're taking baby steps, we show some result to the business that builds a credibility, then we get maybe a larger step and then a larger step. But I think the constantly you will have to create value and deliver, show results and outcomes to people. Otherwise, because the way, at least in my experience, the business teams are working is more depending on the company. They are largely working in AOP cycles, So they were largely working in either quarters or 6 monthly or AOP cycles, and the delivery and outcomes have to kind of align with that. If you're going to come with a project which is a 3-year project and not going to deliver results, then I think it will be very hard sell. But you have to balance out, create credibility, take baby steps, deliver minor, small outcomes, and let them. I think let the business feel that something is getting value added, and once they start believing that, then they'll be more tolerant in more longer term projects where the ROI is difficult to get or hard to prove, but it definitely eases a lot of pain in terms of partner experience and their ability to do the business.
Great. Thanks, Vipin, for that insight. One key question that I had for you was to understand there's a lot of focus, of course, in digitally engaging with customers, right? And app and website has become a central point of customer engagement. Uh, how do you propose building that level of personalization or customization for customers into the app so that the customer prefers the first point of his interaction digitally would be, for example, your own app versus that of a food aggregator like a
Yeah.
Zomato, Swiggy? What do you think as a CTO again, working with the business heads, how you can envision such a customer engagement
Yeah.
from your own apps? Any insights if you can share on that?
Yeah, so I think and I think our philosophy has been in the new app that we have developed just for 5 6 months ago. I think, see, how do we differentiate? I think you put a very important point, or the question is, how does the brands really differentiate, especially when it comes to food tech or even in general retail? Why do I go to a brick and mortar app versus the aggregator? What is the difference? Why? I think, to me personally, I feel while loyalty can be one enabler, but I think, again, depending on the customer segmentation, and especially when it comes to Starbucks, we are dealing with a certain kind of customers who are more valuing experience. They do value, but experience is more, I think, has a higher edge. I think in that case, the brand elements have to come out quite strongly, because and as I was saying earlier, for us, when a customer comes in and interacts with Starbucks, he doesn't think this is offline, and maybe I'll get a better experience, and when it's on the app, and I might not get that. So I think the brand elements, the whole, and which again for us, the brand elements are personalization, the warmth, the connection, the whole, that has to come out, and then that's what we try to do. And I think, and I would say my philosophy and propagation would be that that is something every retailer or every brick and mortar retailer need to do. Otherwise, there is no real differentiation. End of the day, we're just selling coffee, or anybody else is just selling food, which actually, when it comes to the entire experience, delivery experience, I think, and I'll acknowledge that, whether we'll ever be able to meet, like an experience which a Zomato or an Amazon can deliver, probably not. I can never. I mean, it will be just all because the pace and the kind of investment that is happening in that world is very. We have a very, very different kind of investment profile in our side of the world. So I think in that limited resources, how can you create that differentiation? I think is key. And I think if you look at our app, just giving some examples, we have brought in a lot of the coffee elements. We brought in like a barista message. So something like we've created a digital avatar of a barista who actually remains with the customer through their journey along the app. You actually get a lot of the nudges and the starry tips knowledge about the brand, which anyways you will get in the store. So we have tried to replicate a lot of those experiences on the app. And as we grow and evolve, the thinking would be to how more we can personalize. So today you get a welcome message when you log into the app. You get a welcome message which is contextual to our menu, which is contextual to our occasion. But then tomorrow, how can I make it more personalized to your drink, your store, your barista? So that's the overall philosophy. And I think unless we do that, then I think that it'll be very hard to differentiate, and we'll be just another kid on the block.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point, Vipin, that you've shared about the contextual, having contextual conversations with your customers, even if it is a digital engagement. And that actually feeds very well into dovetails into my next question. And it's still very early days for adoption of generative AI solutions such as ChatGPT, integrating them in business. It's still very early days. However, how do you see that really transforming and integrating into your eventually, uh, becoming the center of your customer engagement strategy?
Yeah.
Do you see such solutions becoming, or do you see for brands, especially like Starbucks, that offline person to person experience can never be replaced with digital engagements through chat gpt kind of solutions? What is your take on that?
So 2 points, I think, Suchita. I think one, I think the point that that can generative AI overtake the physical, or physical will never be able to overtake digital. I think I don't think there is any black and white answer onto that. I just feel that we have to be where the customer is. My philosophy on that is, when you go into, as I said, in a particular store, then you might be struggled for time, and you may want to use the app to order, because you just don't have time to stand in the line, or you have kids and your family, and you would like to rather manage them rather than going in line and ordering coffee. You could be the kind of customer who just wants to go to the POS and then order, and then doesn't want to order on the app. So I think we, as a brand, I think it's important that we give all the avenues and let the customer decide what is best for them. And we are available everywhere. We are going to be available on all the prominent customer channels. Now it's up to the customer based on their ease what is best for them. But we will try and give them all the same experience, what they're used to, or in a typical Starbucks. And uh, but at the same time, I think the human element of digital, this whole customer experience can never be taken away. Whether can I completely, would I want you to not come to the stores and enjoy my Starbucks in metaverse, or only at your home? Probably not. If you would like to come, we are a primarily a dine-in brand and or in-store brand, and we would like you to be always there in the store having a chat with barista. And I think one of the other fundamental elements for us is that the barista and the customer connection is key. I'm sure you mentioned you have been a Starbucks customer for almost 17, 18 years now. I'm sure you're the store which you go, the baristas already know you. They maybe already know you by name. They already know your coffee. But that's what we want to give. We want to create that barista and the customer communication, but have then the digital overlay to be able to manage any friction points maybe there. Where tomorrow, if you go with your kid, then if you open up the app, it will still tell you vanilla latte. And I want to reach a stage where the moment you enter a store, it says, Suchita, would you like to order your usual on a WhatsApp message or on an app notification? And if you like to just sit in the corner and maybe read a book and don't want to stand up, I'm there. But if you want to go stand up and have a chat with barista, then I'm also there. So I think that will be there. Now coming to the second part is that whether the chat GPTs will that have a play in our ecosystem? Yes, why not? I think all technologies that are coming in, I think the lens that we're taking is that how can they impact our customer experience and partner experience? And there is a definitive ROI. We don't want to just do it for the sake of doing it. And when it comes to chat GPT, I think the whole, and even yesterday we were having a chat with particular teams on this one. When you want to do an AI on the scale, when we just talked about the welcome messages and the barista messages and all that, I think humanly it is not possible to create that pool. So let's say if I have 1 million customers on my app, to then customize each nudge and each barista message and each welcome message to 1 million customers, I'll probably be spending out of the millions of dollars to copywriters to create that pool of messages. So maybe can I use ChatGPT in a managed way to be able to do that AI at scale? Why not? If the technology proves that, why not? It does help create that differentiation for me, and I think ROI will be there. So we would definitely do that. And I think in general, as I said, our philosophy would be to consider every technology, be open to every technology, but it has to prove an ROI and provide a demonstrable benefit to our customer experience or partner experience.
Sure, Vipin. I'll quickly request Naveen to also weigh in his opinion on this. Naveen, how do you see the industry evolving with automation coming into play, with cloud-based solutions available at the click of a button for many businesses? Where do you see the journey for data science community going ahead? How can data scientists keep up in pace with this level of automation?
Sure, thanks, Suchita. So data science is continuously evolving, and every day I hear of a new tool or new technique which is being deployed by the organizations. So as Vipin rightly said, all of these chat GPTs or the new things which have come up in the AI and data science. So as data scientists, we have to embrace those new techniques, new technologies, new ways of doing things, new use cases. It's not just that marketing and customer engagement definitely is a very important use case, but can I improve the overall guest experience? Things like, as Vipin said, when somebody comes in the stores, through the video analytics, understand the emotions of the customers so that we can better serve them. While it may be a bit intrusive, looks intrusive, of course, you have to respect the customer confidentiality and all of that stuff. But as data scientists, we have to continuously upskill ourselves, adopt our technologies, new technologies. And the world is moving towards no code to low code kind of an environment. So that's what I said. It's not important as a data scientist to be a deep expert in coding. You have to understand, you have to have problem solving skills, understand the business relevance. So whenever I speak to my teams, and all of you know that I insist on the business knowledge. If we are working with a Starbucks account, we have to experience Starbucks. Go into the Starbucks store. That's what I told Japreet and team. Have a coffee, order, understand their loyalty management process. So understand the business. And when you understand the business, then you can be an effective data scientist. And to your point, we have to adopt all of these technologies. Cloud has made things very simple. Some of the cloud service providers have brought everything at one place. So it makes life easy for us as data scientists and also for clients like Starbucks. It definitely helps them in operationalizing some of the solutions, some of the predictive models we develop. So the consumption layer is very effective. So they can consume, track the actions, measure the ROIs, have the cost benefit analysis of those actions. So these are some of my thoughts, Shuchita, on this.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Naveen. Japreet, very quickly requesting you, while of course Vipin is the key speaker here, but any viewpoint you can share from your experiences of leading other client accounts, what has been your experience?
Sure, sure, Suchita. Thank you so much. So I completely resonate with Vipin's and Naveen's point. Likewise, Naveen said that the business knowledge is very important for data scientists. Also, apart from that, I think it's very important that the data scientist should not only be the data scientist, he should also have some knowledge of data engineering things as well, right? He should know cloud as well to the extent that he could scale up his solution, right? So he should know, he should have good knowledge of ETL systems, which are there on the data engineering platforms and cloud system. He should be able to scale up his solution so that the coding is low, right? Because cloud system provides us the solutions which are like low code, no code, right? We should be able to leverage the solutions which these cloud systems are providing, and by using those solutions, we should be able to scale up our solutions to the next level. That is also very important. As a data scientist, we should all understand that.
So sure, Japreet, thank you so much. So I think Vipin, one key take point that I'm grabbing from Japreet and Naveen's viewpoint is obviously how do we enable the business teams to become self-served and self-serviced and independent. And that's again where technology can play in very beautifully. So a parting question, I know we have overshot the time, it was a half an hour discussion, but very quickly, how do you see to make the business team self-sufficient, either through self-service portals, or any kind of complete automation at the front end for them, so that with very little dependence, earlier it used to take days just to extract data, then build reports, then so those days are gone for sure. But in the next phase of business automation, how do you see the journey that eventually business heads are completely independent in their decisioning with very little dependence on static files, for example, or static reporting? So any kind of automations in that direction.
So I think it's a bit again a broad question, Sujita. I think at least my thinking comes in is that I want to take out all the friction when it comes to, because see, for example, my marketing head or my, let's say, COO, he wants to understand sales, and he wants to understand sales at a region level, a store level. What are the possible issues? The marketing person will want to look at from an offers angle and how much rewards, and the CEO would want maybe an overall summary on what has happened where, including the inventory, the COGS, and everything also. So I think I think our endeavor is to take that each step level and then maybe use technologies like obviously AML is pretty standard, but maybe ChatGPT. So my endeavor, let's say, is, can I get up in every morning, and when my CEO opens up the Power BI application, and then he looks at the overall summary for yesterday, and how the sales have gone across India. Now we are able to tell him not only where the numbers have gone up and down, but what are the possible reasons why could have that happen. And then using your algorithms, we could churn that large amount of data, and in terms of saying what are the variables? Is it the customer score? Is it the partner attrition? Is it your, the weather? Is it some, thing happening at a specific mall? Is it a specific occasion? And then, so when he reads a summary, he gets a gist of it and saying, yeah, it makes sense. And that's it. And then maybe he copies and say, marketing head, what is the problem? And or maybe the, supply chain, where is the problem with inventory? So I think the endeavor is to reach at a point where they take actions, saying this is what, why it is happening. But I've already given them all the enablement in terms of taking the whole pain out of opening the email, accessing the file, doing my cut paste on what the cuts may be, and then analyzing and then taking action. I'm saying you take action, the rest of the stuff I will. And that is the case not only in analytics, but also how we the vision is for the store ops, the marketing, the business heads, the mid management, and then the the executive and the board. So I think that's the endeavor. Let's see where we land.
Sure, Vipin. Or we only see success going ahead in all the endeavors. So it was a great session. Before we wrap up the session, any particular questions, audience, please feel free to share your questions in the Q&A section. We can stay back for a minute and answer some of those queries if you have any. Okay. So, so again, thank you so much for your time, Vipin. This was a wonderful session. You've shared very important points here, how to balance the stakeholder expectations, how to decide what type of projects to prioritize first in the adoption of analytics versus which kind of projects where the window of generating impact may take longer time. You've also talked about how we can better digitally as well as offline in the brick and mortar setup, better engage with customers using technology solutions, whether it is AI, computer vision, video analytics, sensing the customer sentiment, sensing the customer experience. We've also learned a few things how we can improve our digital engagement with customers through our own apps, how we can create a differentiation in our own app versus aggregator apps where the experience may be differentiated because of low brand loyalty, but how we can sustain that brand loyalty, have that integrated experience, whether it is offline or online. So wonderful insights. Thank you once again, Vipin, for your time and patience to share some of these insights. We hope to see you more in the future sessions of Transorg with other client partners as well, and sharing some of your insights and achievements. And we hope to see and learn more from you in the subsequent sessions. Thank you, Naveen, once again. Thank you, Jagpreet, once again for joining.
Thanks, Vipin. This was
Thank you. No problem.
very good learning experience for us, and thanks for your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the
Thank
invite.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Sujita. Bye.
Thank you. And if any questions were unasked, but they come up later, please feel free to send me the email and we will share it with people and get the queries resolved. But thank you once again, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.